All right. We are live here talking about the New York Knicks. Let's jump into it. The Knicks have signed a couple players, bringing back some few players like Rose and Noel and Alec Burks. Evan Fournier also going to New York as well. Before we break down the Knicks, want to let you know, subscribe to the channel. Doing lots of NBA content around free agency, trades, summer league, all that fun stuff. And yeah, let's so comment on the video. Feel free to enter the live stream chat here if you'd like, and let's just get into it. Let's talk about the Knicks. The Knicks, obviously last year they lose to the Atlanta Hawks in the first round of the Eastern Conference playoffs. And look, I think it's pretty well known that they probably needed to get more offense, more shooting. And I think Fournier fills that kind of need. Now, let's kind of break down what they did. They have brought back Derrick Rose. They have brought back Alec Burks, and they have brought back Nerlens Noel. Burks' contract and Noel's contract is 3 years. 3 years, $30 million for Burks, and 3 years, $32 million for Nerlens Noel. Looking at Derrick Rose, he's 3 years, $43 million. So as you can see, kind of reflected here, this is the estimates that the website of No Trade Clause kind of puts down of what they think is going to happen. I had heard, and there were a lot of reports that came out and said that okay, well, the Knicks are gonna like try to save up cap space for the future and maybe get somebody later on. But it doesn't really seem like that because they don't really have too much money left to spend here. Like all their money is going to go to Randall and Fournier and Barrett, who I do anticipate probably are their best players for next season. But how much better does Fournier kind of push the needle for them? I don't know. And Rose and Burks and Noel, they're really good players. I don't think their contracts, I think maybe a little bit too high and a little bit too long, but nothing like super egregious by the Knicks. But I just I'm looking at this and I'm seeing, how does this team get better? Right? Like, obviously they need offense. Their defense is there. Fournier is not a great defensive player, but he is, he does provide some shooting and scoring. A guy I think who averaged roughly 19 points these last couple seasons. But yeah, they still got their young pieces: Obi Toppin, Emmanuel Quickley, Mitchell Robinson, Kevin Knox. Obviously RJ Barrett. So do the Knicks is kind of Leon Rose in that front office, are they kind of anticipating that they're going to take another step forward next year? Because again, they were a home court advantage team. This team was totally out of the blue. Obviously Miami didn't get home court, Boston didn't get home court, but those teams are going to be stronger going into next season. So do they dip? Is New York at any risk to dip into the 7 or 8 spot where they're going to have to play a play-in game in order to get to the playoffs? Maybe. Atlanta, how much better are they going to be? Indiana, I think, is going to be better. Charlotte is still alive. Is Washington maybe a little bit better post Westbrook? And it's kind of a addition by subtraction kind of a thing with them. So the Knicks, Chicago also. The Knicks are also a team that I think, again, they'll be another year of a good defensive team, but there's always this constant struggle in the NBA when you can create a great defensive team. But once you do, you have to make a decision as to trying to find more players that fit your defensive game plan, or do you have to spend money elsewhere to be able to provide more offense? Because at the end of the day, offense does win in the NBA. So yeah, I think what are they going to do on their side that could potentially maybe bolster this team? Because I think they do need a little bit of help here. I don't think they can just go in and say we're adding Evan Fournier and we're gonna be back in the playoffs. I don't think it's that simple. Does the great season that Randall had, does he kind of come down a little bit off of that high that he had last season? Maybe. So yeah, I agree with them bringing their guys back. Again, a little bit too long, a little bit too much money for my taste. I don't think it's horrible though. And Fournier's contract is pretty okay, I guess, but does Fournier really move the needle that much for you? But this is kind of one of those things where I know New York gets a lot of crap put on them because of the whole, Kevin Durant, comment that he made a while back where he talked about how the Knicks aren't cool to this current generation, and I think he's right. Like, this team has money to go get Dennis Schroeder potentially, or they had money to go get maybe DeRozan, but they settle for keeping their guys, which I'm all for. And then Fournier is kind of their big contract of the off season, and the big move that they make. And if teams are truly interested in playing for the Knicks, don't you think there would be a little bit more draw? I don't know. That's just my personal opinion. Hopefully not many Knicks fans will watch the video and not wreck me here. But yeah, ultimately, I think a solid signings by the Knicks. Do I think it pushes them over the top of kind of getting to the East or through the East? I don't think so. Again, Boston, Miami, Chicago, Washington, Indiana, like those teams are going to be better next year. Charlotte. So yeah, I like the picks, but again, I do worry a little bit now. The Julius Randle contract extension will be really interesting to watch. Do the Knicks fall in love with Randle and say, you're our guy, and pay him like the all-star that he was last year? And do they give him all-star money, which is going to be $30 million into the future? So do they kind of strap themselves down with that kind of an offer? So yeah, I'm a little interested there to see kind of what happens with the Knicks and how they handle the Randle situation. RJ Barrett, I think, will be up for an extension here eventually too, so interesting. We will see kind of what happens with the Knicks. Ultimately, I think good things are coming. But that is all I have to say on the Knicks. Again, subscribe to the channel, like the video, all these fun things. Feel free to comment, and I'll write back and everything. We're doing a lot of videos here on this channel, so come join us. We're still trying to create a brand here, and trying to figure out like what we can call this whole YouTube thing, but create a brand, have fun with it. So anyway, feel free to join us, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and we will see you in the next video.